So when we think about internal alignment, we're talking about alignment within a single organization and alignment between pay relationships of different jobs, of different skills, of different competencies. This alignment should support the organizational strategy. It should support the workflow, the operations of getting things done, and it should motivate employees to behave in ways that support the interests and objectives of the organization. Now, we can look at the structure of pay within an organization. And it has different elements for us to understand what is the structure and is that structure aligned. We can think about there being different levels of pay within an organization. Those are kinds of groups of jobs that are similar in pay levels. And we can also think about differentials. So, what is the difference in pay between one level and another? And then we have to consider what are those criteria that we're going to use to determine pay and how it's distributed across those levels. As we've been talking about, it's important that human resource management supports organizational strategy and helps the organization to survive and thrive. In order to do that, we have to have systems that support the workflow. People with the knowledge, skills, abilities, and other attributes, they need to execute the tasks that get that workflow accomplished. When we think about pay structure, it should support there being an efficient workflow, and it should be congruent with the design of the organization and the strategy of the organization. Now, what motivates behavior? Employees are motivated for many different reasons, but certainly tangible financial rewards are part of that. And then when we extend that out to things that are indirectly financial, things like health insurance and the stability that we get from that, retirement savings and the stability that we get from that. There is a network of different types of returns that we get from our jobs, some that are purely financial, some that are indirectly financial, and some that are psychological, like having some measure of status or having a social network that you enjoy to interact with. Those are also types of returns that we can manage. When we think about those rewards, it's important that they have line of sight. And that means that for them to be motivating, people have to know that those rewards are there. They have to be part of their awareness in pursuing their work. The clearer that line of sight is to the employees, and the clearer we see the connection between what we're doing our job and the organizational objectives, the greater that motivation is going to be. Because if the people don't see the rewards, if they don't see how they are related to the values that they share with the organization and the goals that they share with the organization, then we can't expect that people are going to be motivated by those types of rewards. So, how do we figure out why one job gets paid more than another job? Or why the behaviors and the skills that these jobs involve should be associated with higher or lower pay? Well, we can look at the content of those jobs. We can dig down and do job analysis and identify knowledge, skills, abilities, other competencies. We can look at the complexity of tasks. We can look at the responsibility that is entailed in that job in terms of supervising people, in terms of having budget authority, in terms of having information technology authority in terms of regulating the flow of information. All of those things are aspects of content that are important to consider. We also, though, need to consider the value of that work. What is the return that the organization gets on having people with those skills, knowledge, and ability for executing those tasks? For there to be a job, there needs to be a return on investment in that job. And so we can figure out, what is the financial return to the organization for people executing that work. Sometimes we need to look at the market, and we can determine value based on what do we have to compete with others to pay for people with these knowledge, skills, and abilities. And so doing an external analysis is an important kind of realistic test of what is the value of a job. Now we can look at both job and person-based structures of pay. Of course, job-based pay is based on the work content, the tasks, the responsibilities, and the behaviors that are needed to execute those tasks and responsibilities. We pay based on an analysis of the job and the implications of those tasks and responsibilities. Now, person-based structure focuses more on the particular employees, that the particular skills and knowledge and competencies that particular employee possesses. Perhaps there is some certification in some kind of first aid that one person has, and that is a financial benefit in terms of allaying some risk, and there is some financial reward associated with that. That could be an element of a person-based structure. In reality, it's difficult to not use both of these factors because we generally want to retain employees and benefit from their cumulative knowledge. And so we have some elements of people with more experience having more contribution to the value of the organization and therefore receiving greater pay. But there's also has to be an underlying logic of that this job delivers these tasks and then gets this pay. So in reality, both tend to be used.